Ovechkin breaks away, holding, waiting, wheeling, dealing, shooting, scoring, top shelf. There's a handoff, makes a move, breaks a tackle. He's down the sidelines, off to the races. He's at the 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown, Miami!
Miami Dolphins are the only football team that go undefeated. No one can top that.
Josh Johnson's been unhittable holidays. Of course, you gotta take the under in that game.
It's the Morning Express Sports Show with your host, Bugsy Nostradamus.
Hey, don't you mess with Bugsy.
And here's your host, Bugsy Nostradamus.
Here we are, off on to the East bracket in the 2012 NCAA tournament. First up, number 1 Syracuse versus number 16 UNC Asheville. Jim Boeheim has his work cut out from Melo, deemed academically ineligible. It's going to cause a lot of problems on the defensive side, also mess with their cohesion offensively. That being said, Boeheim's a good coach. I think Syracuse players step up, fill the shoes of Melo. I've got them going pretty far. We'll get back to that. Kansas State versus Southern Mississippi. Seen both these teams play. Kansas State has had some signs of brilliance, also some setbacks. Southern Mississippi, I think, is very mediocre. I can simplify this game, predicting this game, just like this. Brett Favre can't play basketball. If Kansas State loses in the first round of the tournament, Frank Martin, their head coach, will probably get arrested for beating his players. I'm going to save those players and take Kansas State to advance out of that first round. Vanderbilt versus Harvard. He was wearing my Harvard tie. Yeah, like he went to Harvard. They changed the culture there over at Harvard. You're gonna hear more from Harvard. If they were up against any other team, I think they could get through. It's possible they may get through. But Vanderbilt, they've got momentum, beat Kentucky in the championship game in their conference. Very surprising to a lot of people. The Commodores, we all knew they could play, but if they play like they did in that tournament, they could go far. Wisconsin versus Montana. Montana, the Grizzlies, they can score the basketball, but Jordan Taylor for Wisconsin. Saw a little of him last year, flash of brilliance, but I think he's going to step up. He'll get them through the first round there. Cincinnati, Texas. Cincinnati all the way through the Big East Tournament Championship, losing to Louisville, showed what they're capable of. Very strong defensively, and sometimes offensively, they just explode. Too much for Texas in the first round. Florida State versus St. Bonaventure. Shout out to Eric Jervis. I believe he had some family members of St. Bonaventure alumni. Michael Snare, Florida State. My guys, they take care of St. Bonaventure very easily. I also like them against the spread in the first round. Gonzaga versus West Virginia. Pangos and Sacre versus KJ and the Truck. KJ, too strong. I think he has close to 30 in a game that they'll be talking about first round. Some of the best games for individual players. I think KJ for West Virginia explodes tonight. West Virginia beats Gonzaga. That's big for people's brackets. A lot of people always like the Zags in the tournament. Ohio State, Loyola, Jared Sullinger, William Buford with his clutch shots. Ohio State much, much too strong here. They advance. Syracuse, Kansas State. Kansas State can do it. They can beat Syracuse, but again, I think Syracuse is going to be motivated. A lot of people have written them off since that news was revealed that they would be without Melo. I think it motivates them. They're going to hit some big shots. Frank Martin might run on the court and tackle one of the Syracuse players. Sorry, I overdo it. Hey, just look into his eyes. He's a little bit of a psycho. Syracuse advances and beats Kansas State. Vanderbilt, Wisconsin. If this is how that sets up, this is going to be a great game. Commodores, very strong. I'm back and forth on this game. Vanderbilt has that momentum from beating Kentucky. But I think Wisconsin, again, I think Taylor shooting the three ball and that Badger defense holds Vanderbilt in check. Wisconsin advances here. Cincy FSU, this game concerns me. Cincinnati can beat Florida State. Michael Snare's got to shoot well. Florida State's got to box out. They've got to be tenacious on defense, and they got to hope that Cincinnati doesn't do one of their fluke, hitting their first 10 out of 12 shots, which has happened twice this season. I hope they don't. Florida State gets through, beats Cincinnati. Then you've got West Virginia, Ohio State. Ohio State just too strong. Sullinger inside, too much for the Truck. No doubt, Ohio State, if West Virginia gets there, Ohio State advances. Syracuse and Wisconsin. Too much offense, too much athleticism. Jordan Taylor's only one man. Boeheim sets these guys up for success. The Orange surprised some people who have written them off in the first couple of rounds, and they get to the Elite Eight. Now it's Florida State versus Ohio State. The last time Florida State got to the Elite Eight was versus Kentucky when it was Charlie Ward, Rodney Dobart, Sam Cassell, Doug Edwards, and Bobby Sura. Weren't those the days? I was back at the Oneonta Boys Club when that was going on. Shout out to the Hess brothers and Duke. I got them advancing in the other bracket if you're following along. But Florida State here. Snare has a big game. Florida State really puts the pressure here on Sullinger, forces other people to score. Florida State gets through and advances to that Elite Eight. Then Syracuse, Florida State. This game can go either way. If I'm correct up to this point, you've got Leonard Hamilton versus Jim Boeheim, a veteran. Hamilton's a veteran in a sense, but I think we can all agree Boeheim's a little more recognizable name. Boeheim has that challenge of Melo being out, and then you've got Leonard Hamilton with the challenge of taking this team that just emerged this season, surprised a lot of people. Michael Snare's been unbelievable. If he has a big game here, they do in fact beat Syracuse. The inside presence, the change of what's going on at Syracuse with regards to the offense causes a little difficulty. Maybe I'm just being a homer, but I like Florida State to get through and secure their position in the Final Four in the East bracket. We've got one more bracket to go. I'll try to squeeze it in before I have to go to work, but if not, we'll get it done as the games are running tonight. Big game tonight, West Virginia, Gonzaga. I really think that's a watchable game. KJ blows up, puts up, we'll say 26 and 8. Enjoy the games tonight, guys. Now the madness is really here.